Hi everyone. So I'm gonna make some pretzel cheese beer sauce. And while my pretzel dough is proofing, I'm going to make my sauce. So I'm making it with Gruyere. Since I'm in Switzerland, Gruyere is my favorite and it's a little bit cheaper than usual. So why don't you join me? About 2 tablespoons of butter, which I'm going to melt in a pot. I've got my grated Gruyere cheese, and I also have a little bit of Alp cheese in here with lavender flowers. I also need a little bit of mustard. I have some nutmeg. I have some smoked paprika. I also have like a chili mix. You can also use cayenne pepper. I'm using a little bit of flour. This is whole wheat. You can use white. I'm just using the whole wheat for a little bit of nuttiness. Just waiting for it to melt fully before I add the flour. And I'm going to make a roux, which is R-O-U-X. And a roux is just, you're making a flour and butter slurry, and that's what's going to thicken your sauce. Oh, and the beer I'm adding, it's just like a regular light beer. You can use any kind of beer though if you want like a stout or something, but a Pilsner, like a light beer, is nice. Okay, so now it's melted. Put your heat on low and just add 3 tablespoons of flour. And with a wooden spoon, just stir it around. Here we go. And add your beer. So this is 1 can. Add it slowly. You don't want to add too much at a time because it'll get lumpy. And then just keep stirring. It's going to thicken with the heat. And just keep repeating this. There we go. And you're adding small parts of liquid at a time so it stays nice and smooth. You don't want any flour lumps in there. You see? And it's definitely smelling of beer. And I do a full can. This is half liter. I've been making my pretzel dough since I became a pastry chef after culinary school. It was about the 3rd job I had, and I wanted to try it. And I tested a few recipes and I tweaked it, and I finally made one my own, and I've had it ever since. And a lot of people have asked me for this recipe just because it's perfect. It's nice and soft and it just tastes delicious. Here we go. See how it's coming together? It's like a sauce consistency. I'm going to add a little bit more because once I add the cheese, it's going to thicken. And also, as you add heat to the sauce, it'll thicken a little bit too. So just go ahead and add the rest of the can. It'll look thin, but don't worry about it. Okay, and now I'm gonna add my spices. Add some salt. Don't forget your cheese is gonna be salty too. So maybe like a teaspoon of salt. I'm adding some smoked paprika, a teaspoon of that. I'm going to add some nutmeg, like, say half a teaspoon, 1/4 to half, depending on how you like it. It's almost empty there. And a little bit of chili mix or cayenne, just for a little bit of spice. A little bit of onion powder to that too. And you can also add garlic powder to that, or just add actual garlic in the beginning if you want to saute it. And this is where I'm going to add my mustard as well. Like a teaspoon of that. And you can put it up on medium heat again. just whisk it. Just get all those spice lumps out. And now for my cheese. This is about 3 cups of cheese. It's a good amount. You can also do a mix of cheese. This is Gruyere. And just let it melt slowly. It's going to get stringy. So obviously this will get thick when it cools. Just heat it a little bit and eat this sauce hot with your hot pretzel. I like to make this a little bit in advance just to have it ready when my pretzels are hot. Because once your pretzels are done, you don't want to go back and make this. You want to eat your pretzels as fast as you can. It's so good. So just keep stirring. You don't want the cheese to burn. It's like slowly getting creamy there. It's kind of like when you're making cheese fondue. You use wine and kirsch instead of beer. So it's very similar. The things we do for pretzels. It's so good. This takes a little bit to smoothly stir in, but believe me, it's worth the wait. But keep stirring, otherwise it'll start to set on the bottom of your pot. And don't overcook it. You know, once the cheese is melted, really, you can just turn off the heat. This is nice. It's a nice consistency. And you see how it's thickening a little bit too? It's looking really nice. And I'm going to turn off the heat now. It's looking good. So just give it a taste. See if you need to add anything. You know, any more heat. You could even add like jalapeno to this if you want, or some green chili would be really good. And that's it. I hope you enjoy my Gruyere cheese beer sauce with my fresh pretzels. So check out my pretzel recipe. I'm going to have it on YouTube, and I'll give you some teasers on Instagram. This is a recipe you don't want to miss. Trust me.